let's see how to customize reports in Odoo 14 using Studio module. So we can use Studio module as a tool to modify features or to add new features after installing it from Odoo App Store. Now, let's take an example. For that, let's open sales module. Here we can view all our quotations. So if I open a quotation, you can see this one is a form view. So in order to customize this quotation, we can just click on this studio icon above. So when you click on it, you can see a lot of option to customize this page, this form. So we can change the view and add fields, existing fields. We can add buttons and smart buttons. So there are a lot of options to customize our quotation. Then in order to customize the report, first we have to select the report tab in the Studio tool. So if you click on reports, you can view all the reports in this. So you can see the reports in this quotation. You can view pro forma invoice, then quotation or order. Okay, so one can modify existing report by just clicking on it. And we can also create new reports. So for that, just click on this create button and here we can choose a type of report that you want to create. So it can be external report with business header or footer, or internal report with minimal header or footer, then a blank one. Okay, so you can see the report with business header and footer. So you can drag building blocks here. And under tab add, you can find the fields to be dragged and dropped to the view. So this contains fields, then data tables, then subtotal and total and address book. So these are dynamic elements, which means they need one-to-many or many-to-many related object. And we have text, then title block, and image and text in cell. So these are static elements. So you can drag then drop here. Okay, when you click on that object, that field, you can see different options shown. So here we can edit the text. Okay, you can see it is added. Now we can make it as bold. We can change the size of the text. Font size can be edited. Okay, we can change the font color. A lot of options can be seen. And below also you can see option to set, you can set the margin width. And okay, so under visible if, we can define the rules to set visibility conditions to fields. So you can just click on this edit and add the conditions, that is filters. And we have a visibility 4, which is used to set which groups can have access to specific elements in the report. So we can limit visibility to certain groups. So here we can choose a group and set it for your field. Okay, now we can see a report tab. So under report tab, you can name your report. Here we can change the name of the report. And here we can choose a paper format. So here we can change the paper format. There are different options. You can select one among them. And okay, and if the report should be added to the print menu list on its respective document form, you can also enable this option. So it's already enabled. That is by default. If this option is enabled. Okay, so after adding the required fields, required text, you can close it. So this report is automatically saved. So you can see the customer invoice report is created. Okay, now we can close this. So actions in Odoo Studio can be undone until you close the toolbox. So once you have closed Studio, changes cannot be undone anymore. So now let's close this and okay, so you can see say order. Now we can see that report is added to the print list. So from here we can print it. Okay, so we can open with and see the report. Okay, so this is how we create and print a new report using Studio. Now let's see how we can modify an existing report. Okay, now let's go to accounting. There we have our customer invoice. Okay, can view all the invoice. And here we can view the reports. So here you can view our invoices report. So if you want to make any modification to this template, to this report, you can add from here. That is, you can add blocks, inlines, tables. Okay, so from here, let me drag up address block. Okay, so it can select the related field. Okay, you can view the partner address. So when you click on this address block, you can see some options related to this block. You can change address separator. Right now it is line break. If you want to update it to space, okay, you can see the change. The details are separated by using space. And if you put comma, the details are separated using comma. So you can see a lot of options from here. And you can also change the displayed fields. So here we have 5 fields right now. If you don't want mobile, you can just close it. So it is removed from the address block. Okay, so in this way you can add more fields to this report and you can remove blocks. If you want to remove it, you can just click on it and click on remove from view. So it will be removed from the report. Okay, then you can see a new option. There is a new feature in a report, that is customization, that is reload from attachment. So you can see this by activating the developer mode. It saves the report as an attachment of the document when printed. That is when a report is reprinted. For example, if an invoice is reprinted, it re-downloads that attachment instead of reprinting it. This means if you made any change to the record when compared to the first impression, the report does not reflect the change because they were done after the attachment was created. That is, once a report was generated. So this is really useful for reports linked to documents that should not change, such as invoices. So you can enable this option for that purpose. And suppose if a customer, if some customers want to make any modification to the generated report, you can disable it from here. So let's see how it works when you enable this option. So after enabling this, you can see it is automatically saved. Now when you close this, okay, let's create a new customer invoice. Okay, here let's add an invoice date. So I'm setting 6/8/2021, and here I'm adding a product. Okay, now confirm the invoice. Okay, now save this. So when you save it, you can see print option. So you can print the uh, generated invoice. Okay, so when you open it, you can see the report. Here we can header, footer, the partner address, then invoice reference, invoice date, invoice line, and payment terms and total amount. So you can see invoice date is 6/8/2021. Now here you can see option to reset it to draft. That is if you want to make any modification to generated invoice. So when you reset it to draft, you can see edit option. And when you edit it, you can edit this form. So I'm going to update the invoice date to 11/6/11/2021 and confirm it. Okay, now let's generate the invoice again, that is reprint the invoice. You can see the invoice date is not updated because we have enabled the option reload from attachment. That is, you can't change the generated invoice. So to make any change, you cannot find the change in the generated report, that is reprinted report. Now let's go back and disable that option. Okay, here we have our invoice template. Let me disable this reload from attachment. Now let's close this. And let's see how it works by creating another invoice. Let's create a new one. Okay, 6/10/2021. Okay, you can see the invoice date is 6/10/2021. Now let's reset this invoice to draft and edit the invoice. It is not recommended to disable this option for invoice. Okay, now let's update the invoice date to 14, or we can add new product to the invoice line and confirm the invoice. And print the report again, that is invoice again. Okay, you can see the changes are reflected in the report. Okay, here you can see the invoice date is updated. The product line, that is invoice line, is also updated along with that. So this is a nice feature. So we can make use of that feature to prevent updation of reports. So that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.